From 1775 to 1783, American revolutionaries fought a costly war of independence, eventually freeing themselves from British rule. In order to ensure that the United States did not become the kind of government they sacrificed so much to escape, the Founding Fathers created the Bill of Rights. This influential statement of liberty added 10 crucial elements to the U.S. Constitution and is essential to preserving individual rights in America. Now, let's examine what specific liberties each amendment protects. The First Amendment states, "Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion, or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech, or of the press, or of the right of the people peaceably to assemble, and to petition the government for a redress of grievances." This means that the government cannot decide what people are allowed to say or how they say it. This also establishes freedom of association, guaranteeing that individuals can gather together to engage in any type of speech or activity they want, provided it does not harm anyone else. The First Amendment also explicitly prohibits the establishment of a state religion. This provision was extremely important to many Americans who had left England and other nations specifically to escape religious persecution. In many ways, the First Amendment is the most important. It's not just about speech, but about the right of all people to think and believe whatever they want. In many countries around the world, this freedom doesn't exist. Many people throughout history have spent decades in prison simply because they said the wrong thing. The First Amendment prevents the U.S. government from dictating to the public which ideas are acceptable, or from punishing people who express unpopular views. The Second Amendment is more direct. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. The meaning of this amendment has become a point of contention for some people in America, often focusing on the word militia. One argument is that the Second Amendment doesn't guarantee everyone the right to keep and bear arms, but only those involved in a state-sanctioned army. However, this relies on a modern interpretation of the word. During the Virginia Convention to ratify the Constitution, George Mason, co-author of this amendment, said, "I ask, sir, what is the militia? It is the whole people. To disarm the people is the best and most effectual way to enslave them." And indeed, one of the first things the British government under King George did to squelch the uprising colonists was to take away the colonists' firearms. The founders weren't just concerned with the people protecting themselves and their property against foreign invaders or criminals, but also from their own government. The Third Amendment protects people from something that was a serious problem for the colonists during the Revolutionary War, but is almost unheard of today. It states that no soldier shall, in time of peace, be quartered in any house without the consent of the owner, nor in time of war, but in a manner to be prescribed by law. The Fourth Amendment is designed to protect people's natural right to property by establishing legal rules of due process. It says, "The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrants shall issue but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized." This means that agents of the government are not allowed to search your body or anything you own against your will without a written warrant issued by a duly appointed judge. Both the Fifth and Sixth Amendments protect people's natural right to liberty by providing a series of rules governing the courts. They establish limitations on the state regarding how individuals are charged with crimes and imprisoned. The Fifth Amendment states, "No person shall be held to answer for any capital or otherwise infamous crime, unless on a presentment or indictment of a grand jury, except in cases arising in the land or naval forces or in the militia when in actual service in time of war or public danger. Nor shall any person be subject for the same offense to be twice put in jeopardy of life or limb, nor shall be compelled in any criminal case to be a witness against himself, nor be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. Nor shall private property be taken for public use without just compensation." In other words, anyone accused of a major crime like murder can only be convicted by a grand jury, which reviews not only the crime committed, but also the evidence for the crime itself. Additionally, a person should never be forced to incriminate themselves, and once a criminal trial is over, no one should be made to stand trial again for the same crime. This amendment also prevents the government from confiscating private property without compensation through eminent domain. The Sixth Amendment serves a similar function. It ensures that everyone accused of a crime has the right to a fair trial. It says that, in all criminal prosecutions, the accused shall enjoy the right to a speedy and public trial by an impartial jury of the state and district where the crime shall have been committed, which district shall have been previously ascertained by law, and to be informed of the nature and cause of the accusation, to be confronted with the witnesses against him, to have compulsory process for obtaining witnesses in his favor, and to have the assistance of counsel for his defense. When taken together, the Fifth and Sixth Amendments provide protections against wrongful convictions and unlawful imprisonment. The Seventh Amendment establishes the right of people to a fair trial in civil matters. In suits at common law, where the value in controversy shall exceed $20, the right of trial by jury shall be preserved, and no fact tried by a jury shall be otherwise re-examined in any court of the United States than according to the rules of the common law. The Eighth Amendment protects the people against the kinds of severe punishments that have been common throughout history. Excessive bail shall not be required, nor excessive fines imposed, nor cruel and unusual punishments inflicted. This amendment prevents the government from torturing and abusing people and from imprisoning individuals indefinitely. It helps to ensure that punishments actually fit the crimes committed. Finally, the Ninth and Tenth Amendments solidify the underlying philosophy of the Bill of Rights and the purpose of the Constitution. The Ninth states that the enumeration in the Constitution of certain rights shall not be construed to deny or disparage others retained by the people. The Ninth Amendment was included specifically to establish that the Constitution should be viewed as an explicit list of limits to the power of the federal government, and not as a limit on the rights of the people. Likewise, the 10th Amendment ensures that there is a balance between legislative authority granted to the federal government and legislative powers left up to the states. It says, "The powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution, nor prohibited by it to the states, are reserved to the states respectively, or to the people." In other words, unless a given power is expressly written in the Constitution, the federal government does not have the authority to exercise it. All combined, each of these amendments is designed to help guarantee our inalienable rights to life, liberty, and property against the kinds of abuses that often accompany a powerful centralized government. Understanding why these amendments exist and why they are important is the only way to protect liberty for everyone in America, now and into the future.